product universe here. A congresswoman tries to explain banking to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. This was unusual.
Do you think the largest, most complex banks are roughly half are as risky in the threat that they pose to the financial system as a community bank in my district?
Well, I think, Congresswoman, that what you're neglecting to think about is the composition of the assets and the capital. So the capital at the GSIBs can be much more liquid, where the banks in your community are much more, as we're used to seeing in the movies.
Well, let me explain to the public why community. Yeah, I understand. Community banks, though,
I don't think she
lend out
understands.
equivalent about 75% of their deposits to real economy. Some people refer to as Main Street, but we call it the real economy. People, families, communities. The largest banks only lend about 40% of their deposits into our real economy. Instead, they rapidly expand their loans to hedge funds and private equity that you're calling liquidate. They can liquidate, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm also saying they hold a much higher.
Yeah, but the big banks are the ones who keep failing, right?
What's that?
The big banks are the ones who keep failing.
No. Many small banks fail.
Well, that's because they're getting pushed out. We're not actually supporting community banks.
Well, as I've said, I think more than 100 times today, I support community banks, and what I don't want to see.
You could say it, but you got to do something about it. But listen, so Trump's
I've met with more than 200.
I know,
community
Mr.
bankers.
Secretary, but this is pretty bad.
Well, that was very unusual indeed, as Congresswoman Tlaib was trying to explain banking to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I don't even think that she had a clue what she was saying, but I do commend her for at least trying. But boy, oh boy, that was a tough watch, as Scott Bessent is one of the greatest financial minds in the world. You don't need to explain anything to him, because he already knows everything there is to know. And saying things which he obviously knew very little about was painfully hard to watch, as she was trying to question him about things which did not make sense, and he totally exposed her for it with his answer to her question about big banks failing, as in reality, more recently, smaller banks have been the ones that have failed, like Silicon Valley Bank. What did you think of this?